Hey guys, welcome back. So now getting into the finale of the miniseries of The Batman Who Laughs, there's been quite a few questions that you guys have been asking me that I feel like we finally got the answer to, or at least I feel like we've gotten an answer for most of them. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week, and don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so with everything leading up to this point, breaking Batman to this final confrontation between him and the Batman Who Laughs, one of the biggest questions is how does Bruce Wayne beat Bruce Wayne? Because definitively he's like that one person who's ready for everything. And essentially if you face that against itself, and then you add on top of that on both ends the Joker toxin, it's almost as if they're equally as dangerous. So then comes the question, how do you find a definitive winner? Unless something is different on either end, which is the main thing to look for in this case. And so now when we had seen the Batman Who Laughs inject Batman with the intention of sending him over the edge, the result that we see immediately after is very much what you would expect, with Batman telling the Batman Who Laughs that he now understands and he feels free because he finally feels whole. And now with this syringe that has a green light on top, the way it works, when the light turns red, that means essentially that our Bruce will be very much like the Batman Who Laughs, and also when it turns red, this will mean that when it's ready, the Batman Who Laughs can also extract Bruce's blood, which is like the final ingredient to the serum that he's been putting together that he could disperse throughout Gotham with the intention of setting free the darkest side of each individual, much like what he's able to see through his visor, but actually setting this side of them free. And so as soon as that light turns red, which pretty much means it's go time, it's not that much longer after where the Batman Who Laughs figures out that this was just a trick, because this syringe of course is Wayne tech, and Bruce had rigged his suit so that at the time that he was injected, the light would show red but it would actually still be green. And the Batman Who Laughs figures this out because it's really that case of, if I was Bruce Wayne, what would I do? And at this point in time, the Batman Who Laughs isn't exactly sure why Bruce isn't changing all the way, and after going through all this trouble to make him like himself, and after all of that it not working, he just came to the conclusion of, you know what, I'm just gonna get rid of you altogether. And for the Batman Who Laughs, since this Bruce Wayne's not giving him exactly what he wants, he more or less just figures that he'll just find another Bruce Wayne, and eventually he'll get the outcome that he's anticipating. But just before he can get rid of this Bruce Wayne, the younger Bruce, who is still here hiding, and with everything that's been going on, the Batman Who Laughs nearly forgot about him. But when this younger Bruce sees the Batman Who Laughs, who's about to kill Bruce Wayne, he comes out from hiding, begs the Batman Who Laughs to stop, and then he runs away. And the Batman Who Laughs, who goes after him because at this point he's in the market for a new Bruce, he then follows him through the family cemetery at Wayne Manor. But as it turns out, this whole time that he had been chasing him, this had actually been a setup for him to run into Alfred, who is just waiting for him, and he unloads as soon as he turns that corner. But it's here that we also learn a bit more about the past of the Batman Who Laughs, because he tells Alfred here, who he admits nearly killed him, that back on his world in the dark multiverse, after he had taken out the Bat family in the Justice League, like when it had came down to it, and the Batman Who Laughs had pretty much gotten rid of everyone else, that when it came down to it, Alfred was the last man standing. And he tells Alfred, like when it came down to it in the dark multiverse, that the Alfred over there almost killed the Batman Who Laughs, but the only reason that he didn't succeed, it was because that Alfred had fell for the trick and he believed that there was still good left in him. And as a result, the Batman Who Laughs just locked him away in a cave, like one of the sub caves of the Wayne Manor, and fed him scraps until he broke. And it took that Alfred like a year to reach his breaking point. But the point that the Batman Who Laughs was trying to make, that eventually he did break. But with Bruce comes back, and doing so by kicking the Batman Who Laughs in the back of the head, he lets him know that right here in the middle of the Wayne Manor cemetery, that this is exactly where he wanted the Batman Who Laughs to meet him. And mainly because since all the locations prior to this, the Batman Who Laughs has pretty much controlled the when and where, whether it had to do with the Last Lab protocol, or even the location of where the Batman Who Laughs was sabotaging the Gotham waterways, with that being located directly under Crime Alley. This actually led Bruce to know that whatever location they were going to next, it had to be a location that was sentimental to Bruce Wayne. And with Bruce knowing this, he made the plans to set a trap for the Batman Who Laughs within the Wayne cemetery. And for that reason, he laid a number of traps here, and I believe with the addition that he just wanted to beat him down with Martha Kent's gravestone, or perhaps that could have been a little bit of improv. But at this point, with Batman repeatedly and relentlessly beating the mess out of Batman Who Laughs, we get the arrival of someone who has came to keep their promise, who catches Bruce by surprise, and lo and behold, it's the Joker, who has come here to make good on his promise that he would take out Batman had he come to the point to where the Joker toxin had taken over. And when he takes his shot, we pretty much jump over to James and Jim Gordon, who are still under the Batcave facing off with the Grim Knight. And this is going down at the same time that Bruce is facing off with the Batman Who Laughs. But here under the Batcave, Commissioner Gordon, their goal pretty much at this point is to stop the Grim Knight, who has pretty much sabotaged the drones that are supposed to go over Gotham as a backup plan with the antidote. Because these same drones, instead of being an antidote, they're pretty much rigged with a version of the serum, which is scheduled to disperse over Gotham, to where Bruce would think that this is actually the antidote. And I mean, as far as James Gordon Jr. and Commissioner Gordon going up against the Grim Knight, it comes to a point to where you really think the Grim Knight is gonna come through. And when I say come through, I mean it's pretty much poison the whole of Gotham. Because at one point, it really looks like he's about to take out Commissioner Gordon, and James Gordon Jr. is really just standing there watching and not doing anything about it. But when he finally decides to do so, and in a way giving into like his old desire to revert back to the old James Gordon Jr., he does so by letting loose on the Grim Knight, like straight up Psycho style. And it's crazy to the point where Commissioner Gordon has to get up and pull his son off of the Grim Knight, and from there figure out a way to disable the drones from spreading the toxin all over Gotham, which they barely did at the last minute. But so now in the case of Bruce Wayne, who as it turns out was pretty much saved by the Joker, who more or less stopped him from killing the Batman Who Laughs. And like when we see Bruce and Alfred again, Bruce is getting rid of all of the nth metal that was located around Gotham that the Batman Who Laughs was using in order to open these different doors. And I wouldn't really say so much getting rid of it all, rather than just melting it all down and not make it as easily available for just anyone to get to. And so like in your case of the younger Bruce that this Bruce Wayne had pulled over into this universe, as it turned out, Bruce Wayne had used him for a blood transfusion so that over the course of weeks, he would have clean blood in his system, and day by day, he would rid himself of the Joker toxin over time. And when they were done, they just sent him back. But we find out that this younger kid Bruce, that when he goes back, like his parents don't actually die in the alleyway, like he actually grows older and lives a decent life. But in the case of the Batman Who Laughs, who's locked away in like your dungeons of the Hall of Justice, and I totally didn't know that the Hall of Justice came with a dungeon, but with the Batman Who Laughs locked away here, it pretty much tells us a couple things. Like one, with this series in relation to other events that are going on, seeing the Batman Who Laughs within this dungeon, this pretty much sets us up going into the Year of the Villain, because much of what we see throughout that event and even going through the tie-ins, they'll be taking place while the Batman Who Laughs is still locked down here. Which is one of those things that just has me thinking, like, because if you guys remember, initially, the Batman Who Laughs miniseries was supposed to be 6 issues. Well, 6 issues and then also your Grim Knight tie-in. But over the course of time, this 6 issues then turned into 7, and then your 7th issue release date then got pushed back. And I'm pretty sure that much of the reasoning for this, and I totally have no solid evidence to support this is just really my thoughts. But with the 7th issue being delayed, I really feel like the 6th and 7th issue both had been kind of changed up early on. And I mean early on as far as like after the first issue had actually been published. But I believe like after that time, the 6th and 7th issue were both changed in order to set up a different ending than what Scott Snyder had originally intended. And more so for the purpose of just having an ending that would flow better with the Year of the Villain and end this series in a more cohesive way. And like I said, I have nothing to support this. This is just my thoughts, my theory, because to me, that's really how this ending kind of feels. But also where this concludes and giving us a bit of closure in the case of James Gordon Jr., we see him talking to his father, Commissioner Jim Gordon, and he's more or less letting him know what we kind of know already, that he's not really in the place that he wanted people to believe that he was, but most certainly he is working on it, and his father Jim Gordon said that he's going to help work on it better as well. But in the case of Bruce Wayne and how he resisted the Joker toxin, him and Alfred have a conversation which bounces around a few ideas, and one of which proposes the idea that the Joker had rigged the toxin within his own heart, and not to the point of being ineffective, but actually giving Batman more time to figure out what he needed to do before the toxin completely took over. And this is something that makes sense with everything that we talked about back in Justice League when the Joker had quit the Legion of Doom, because he found out with Lex Luthor's involvement with the Batman Who Laughs, which to say the least scared the mess out of the Joker, but also would make sense that he would make provision to make sure that his Batman would be able to do what he needed to by just simply buying him a little bit more time. And the way that Bruce figured this out was more or less when the Joker was in the Batcave telling him that you're breaking my heart, because this was actually a message to Batman, because in ancient times, breaking your heart, or a heartbreaker so to speak, it was a term that was used for a court jester who told like a slow joke, or a joke that took a long time to pan out. And this is how Batman figured out that the Joker was really buying him more time. But so now in your case of Commissioner Gordon, and in a very post-credit scene thriller type of way, we actually find out that the Grim Knight was successful in infecting Commissioner Gordon at the time when we seen him trying to force the toxin to Commissioner Gordon, and it actually worked. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Like, I'm really curious to hear what you guys think as far as where everything landed at the conclusion of this narrative. And let me know what you think about my theories too. Like, do you believe there's a Snyder cut floating around somewhere with a different conclusion? Like, I want to know. Let me know down in the comments, and we'll do it again in the next one. Alright, later.